Welcome to the second video of the second week of this training program. Now, this is going to be the last video of Python programming basics, and we'll be moving on towards more of statistics and data science foundations in the next couple of videos. Now, I hope you have revised the concepts of using operators, variables, and various data structures I've demonstrated in last 3 videos. If you haven't, please go through them so that you can understand and move on ahead towards the path of data science. Now, in this video, we are going to look at few control structures, basically conditions. Then there are going to be loops, there's going to be function. Now, this is not going to be in depth with the perspective of programming. I hope you know these concepts in some other language. If you don't, please try to go through these concepts, how they work in any programming language, because here I'm trying to show you the syntax of how it works in Python. Now, let's move on with some condition checking. I hope you know the operators, and you can check a condition by using this type of operator. So what is this operator? Think about it. So the next part, or the most important part in the control structures, is if else conditional statements. So these are used whenever you have to execute some statements on the basis of few conditions. To execute several statements on the basis of a certain condition, we use if else statements. Now, I'm demonstrating an example here. I've declared a variable num is equal to 19. Then I'm checking for a condition if num is smaller than 10. Now look at this syntax here. You have to specify the keyword if, you have to specify the condition, that is num smaller than 10 here. Then you have to specify the colon, and then you have to use the indentation. Likewise, in C or C++, we use these curly brackets, and they make everything ugly. As soon as you get into some complex programming, or you use some complex if else statements like nested if else statements, etc. But in Python, to make the code more readable and interpretable, you have to use the indentation compulsorily. If I don't use it, I'll get an error. Okay, so this is how if is written. Then there's elif, as in else if in the C or C++ programming. Now continuously I'm using the reference of C or C++ programming again, because I hope you know the prior knowledge, programming knowledge, having used these conditionals in some other programming language. Okay, now we use elif instead of else if, as in other or say C, C++, etc., some core programming languages. And then you specify the condition, and then you specify the colon. Again, we have to use the indentation and write down our statement, whatever we have to execute on the basis of this condition. Now elif is used only when this statement becomes false. Always remember this sequence. Priority is this if statement, or the condition specified in if statement, and only then elif statements are looked upon. There's a lot of confusion which happens when you try to create if else conditionals, and you do a mistake in specifying the priorities of the conditions. Now ahead we use the else condition, that is, if every condition in this if elif statements are false, it'll move ahead to else statement. And then again we use colon. We don't specify a condition in else statement, just use a colon, use the indentation and write down your specific statement you have to execute. Let's run it, and this is the right number because I've specified a condition num is equal to 19 and I have declared num is equal to 19. You can run else this statement in else condition, else clause, and you can see, check it again. So that's how if else conditionals work. Now I'm going to show an example having if else conditionals, for loops and a function. Now I'll step by step show how it's done, but again you should know what a function is in programming concept, how it returns a value, how or what it does, etc. Now in Python you can create a function just by specifying a keyword def, then later on you have to specify the name of the function. Here I'm trying to create a function which returns true if a number I pass in is prime, else it returns false. Then you have to specify the parameters if there are any. In Python you don't have to write the data type here like void, int, float, etc. You just have to specify def even if you don't have any parameter here. Now for now we have a parameter num. Then we'll use if condition as I showed above. If num is equal to 1, it is not prime, so return false. That's the boolean value we need when num is equal to 1. Then we are going to use a loop here. Now how to create a for loop in Python? Use a keyword for, use the name of an iterator, just specify I as an iterator. Okay, I'll show how it's done actually. In C programming you have to write for I is equal to 0, I smaller than certain value, let's set in I plus plus, and go on for the statements like this. Similarly in Python you just have to write for I as an iterator over here. You don't have to initialize it like you do in C. Then for I you have to use in operator and then the range of values, that is 0 to 10. Just use the range function and then write 0, 10 for this specific for loop, and you have to use the colon again and you get an indentation as well, and then you have to write some statements. So here I have created a for loop with the range of 2 to num, that is a prime number would start from 2, right? So 2 to num to check if a number divides the number I have given in as a parameter. So if num %i is equal to 0, that is if a number divides the number I have, it has to return false, that is it's not prime. While after the loop runs for whole time, and if this condition just doesn't work, it will return true, right? So we have created this function prime. Now here's how actually for loop works if you want to know. So for I in range of 10, print I, that is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 to 9. Okay, now I'll use my function prime 18,503 and it returns true. Is 18 prime? No, so it should return false, and it does. Let's say 17. It's true because it's prime, right? So that's how on the combination of a function, a condition, and a loop, how they work together. Okay, now we can, now over here I'm going to do something called as finding out prime numbers between 1000, all prime numbers. Now as we know, I've created a prime number function, so I'm creating over here a list by using square brackets. It's an empty list. I hope you know the data structure list from the previous video. Then I'm creating a for loop in the range 2, 1000, since we are looking for the prime numbers, right? Then if prime of I, that is, if this is like saying the statement, understand? So basically, if prime of I returns me true value, I'll be executing the statement, and the statement is basically appending the I value. That is, if I is prime, it will be appended to this list. Now to in Python you can just directly say if prime of I, so if it's true it will append. If you have to say if it's false, so just use not keyword, as in inversion. Logically, I hope you know the logical operators in Python, as I've demonstrated in the first video itself. And then let's see how our list looks. It's so long, right? So from 2 to 997 all prime numbers are printed. You can see 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, etc. Now as we have seen, for the for loop you can use range, a range of certain values. In Python you can directly iterate through a list, or say through the elements of a list or any data structure. So as I've created a list li over here, I'll be running this loop. Basically x over here is an iterator for this list, so x here will be taking the values of 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, etc. Basically all the values in the list. Then I'm checking for a condition. I'm trying to find the prime numbers above 500 and below 1000. Then I'll be checking this condition, and I'm basically trying to count those numbers. So I've created a I is equal to 0 as count, and I'm just increasing it by 1 as soon as the prime number is found above 500. And you can see there are 73 prime numbers above 500 and before or below 1000. Okay, and in such a way you can use the for loops for in terms of range and in terms of a data structure to iterate through a data structure directly. Now in for loop you can also use step. As in the data structures video, I've shown that you can use steps during slicing of a data structure. Similarly, in a for loop you can use steps. So if I have to consider values 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, I'll be using 2. If I say 1, so 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, etc., I'll be using 1 to 10 range and 2. Let's see what it prints. You can see 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, or say 0 to 10. 0 to 4 6 8. So you can use that in for loops as well. Now moving on to the next loop, while loop. While loop is basically a conditional loop and often referred to as the least complexity loop. Often if you have gone through algorithms, time complexity, you'll know while loops consider lesser complexity because of the conditionals we can provide in them, but it's not always the case, know that. So let's demonstrate a while loop here. N is equal to 0 is a variable I've taken. Now to use the while loop, just specify while keyword, then specify your condition, then again a colon, and give all the indentations for all the statements you have to execute for this while loop. So I'm just printing the number and increasing it by 10. That is, I'm trying to print over here 0, 10, 20, 30 and so on, or basically stepping ahead by 10. So you can see 0, 10, etc. 90. It's really basic. Okay, now moving on ahead, in Python you can use else statements with while loops. That is, after while loop is executed, for this specific condition, if as soon as this gets false, it moves on to the else condition and the statements within the else condition are executed. So here I've created this similar demonstration as in above, stepping by 10 ahead. Now I created the same while loop and just specified else println. So what it will do is it will print 0 to 90 as in above loop, and after checking for n is not equal to 100, as soon as it becomes 100 it will check for this condition, right, and it's false, so it will break out of while loop and move on to else condition. And since it's not equal to 100, this statement will be executed. That is, basically I'm just printing the last value again. You can see 0 to 100 all numbers are printed. So this is a very interesting and useful feature as in loops in Python. Now there is also continue and break statements. As in switch case, if you know the switch case in C programming, it can be used in Python as well, but I'm not showing it here because we don't need to use much in data science at least. So as in switch cases, the continue statement skips rest of statements and moves on to the next iteration. So if I use continue after a statement, the statements below the continue keyword will not be executed, but it will directly iterate, or rather say increase the iteration and move on to first statement again and start executing from there itself. Similarly, break statement basically skips rest of the statements and exits, or say breaks out of the loop. It's just same as in the C programming language as you use in while or switch cases, right? So here I'm demonstrating a simple thing. So what the problem is to print square roots of numbers which are even and less than 100, basically perfect square roots of numbers, right? Just know they have to be even and less than 100. So let's take a variable x is equal to 0. Now while 1, that is while true, if x% 2 not equal to 0, that is if the number is odd. For instance, currently x is equal to 0. After you iterate it to 1, it will become 1. So I don't want to actually find out the square root of it, because specified over here I just want square roots of even numbers. So if I encounter a odd number, I'll just iterate it ahead, that is x plus is equal to 1, and then continue. That is, the statements below continue, all the statements won't be executed, and directly move on to this first statement again. And as soon as I increase 1 to 2, the statement will become false, so it will go to else, and so on. So this is for checking if odd numbers are present. If they are, just iterate and again repeat the loop. Then there's else condition I have put, if that is if the number is even. Now inside here I've specified a condition which checks for if the number is a perfect square. So basically x star star 0.5 is finding the square root of that number and then checking it, or say checking if it is equal to the typecasted value of x, or say the square root of x. Now why it's necessary is, let's say 7%, square root of 7, it is 2.64. if I compare it with int value of 7's square root, it will return me false, while if I just take here 4, it should return true, because this is 2 and this is 2 as well, or rather say, yeah, you can see. So a perfect square root's typecasted value would be similar to it. And then after checking that condition, I'm printing the value only if it's perfect square. Then later on I'm checking for a condition that is x equal to 100, that is I've specified over here less than 100. If it's equal, break out of the loop, and there is usual iteration, that is x plus is equal to 1. Let's see, and you can see 0, 2, 4, 6, 8 and 10, and yes, these are the only numbers which have the perfect square, or say their squares have perfect square roots, right? Also know that, or say look at how I've used the indentations over here. Here's an indentation for the next statements after while loop, then here are indentations after specifying the if else conditions. Now I hope you understand this easily, because it's really natural to use it in such a way. Instead of specifying some curly brackets, it really makes the code ugly to read. So Python is also easy to read, interpret and use. I hope you have gotten to know some concepts through this video, and try to practice these by yourself by creating some other functions like I've created above. There was a prime function, try to create some factorial function, Fibonacci function, etc., some basic programming functions, and try to get your hands on these concepts. Now this is the end of Python programming's basics required for this training program. We'll be moving on ahead to statistics, and I'll be giving out a few quizzes on only Python programming basics. Try to go through them. If you get stuck, there are videos, go through them, ask your doubts and relax. You will learn the data science properly as soon as you move in with full interest. Thank you.